Hello friends and welcome back. We are going to do text completion in continuation of what we did last time. I will be doing a couple of text completion exercises this week also, because this is what some of you have been asking me to do, that they want more such exercises where vocabulary can be tested in actual sentences. Following that, I will give you a couple of sessions on individual words also, but I thought it is a good idea if we do text completion based exercises in continuation. I have also received a couple of requests regarding some listening reading passages. I think we have done quite a bit of that in our earlier lectures, but if you insist on getting more exposure, then perhaps I will rework my lectures and will give you some of those kinds of exercises very soon in the forthcoming lectures. Now, I also wanted to do some grammar with you, because grammar is often tested in international and also in our national level entrance exams and competitive exams for English. So, higher order grammar, not just basic grammar, but that is something that we are going to do. So, those are some of the things on. So, as we move towards the middle of this course, we have already been doing quite a lot of work, and we are almost halfway through now. So, this is what I am going to do: text completion, then individual words which are of great importance to some of you, and also from the point of view of spoken, written, and even for your reading comprehension. So, those kinds of vocabulary. I will be doing some antonyms also, some synonym based exercises also, which is a must. All of us have to do that. Then I will go, because on popular demand I have to do some reading and listening passages also. We will be doing grammar soon. So, that is the plan for the next few weeks. Now, let us look at the first exercise. Please go through the slide. This behavior is an example of tool making documented by Jane Goodall, whose field observations embroiled, exculpated, appended, hackneyed, demonstrated the notion that chimpanzees do not make or use tools in the wild. Best answer is appended. Embroil means force into some kind of situation. Exculpated means freed from any question or guilt. To append is to become turned or set or end. Something hackneyed is something repeated too often or something that is over familiar through overuse. To demonstrate is to give an exhibition of to an interesting or interested audience. It is clear from the passage that the existing notion was implied, rather implied by Goodall's documentation. Yeah? So, the best answer is to append, which means to set on end. We are looking here, remember, for a word that would convey this. Exculpate, that is guilty, cannot be it. The notion was proved incorrect, it cannot have been hackneyed or demonstrated or even embroiled. That leaves us with appended, which actually does convey the implication that the existing notion was incorrect. Next set, the love between two psychopaths encouraging each other to obstinate, nascent, horrendous crimes might seem good to them, but is an morose, aberrant, obsolete perversion to others. The love between, who are psychopaths? People who are suffering from some psychological problems. Okay? So, actually it has a much more sinister connotation. So, you will have to look up for the exact meaning of psychopaths. We also say psychopaths, people who are aberrant, psychologically aberrant. So, encouraging each other to what kind of crimes now? So, the best option would be horrendous crimes, and they may enjoy doing that. See, there are several examples, real life examples of psychopaths, and I would suggest that you read a book called, some of you keep asking me for what books to read. So, it is called In Cold Blood. It is written by the Pulitzer winning author Truman Capote. In Cold Blood. Okay. It is a partnership between two men who were almost like psychopaths. So, that is the best example I can give you. But is an dash, we will go back to our exercise here, is an a dash perversion to others. So, morose, aberrant or obsolete. Have we done obsolete? Please go back to your earlier exercises, earlier lectures, and you will find what is obsolete. Morose, there is a difference between morons and morose. Morose, and what is aberrant? Okay, so, the best choice here is aberrant. Morose is brooding, morose temperament. Moron is a stupid person. Idea that she is quitting her job, giving up on such a good scholarship is aberrant, offensive to the mind of many. And if something is obsolete, it means it is no longer in use. So, we are looking for a word for perversion. The perversion is not obsolete if it is happening as we speak, and perversion need not be qualified as morose. Definitely offensive to others. So, our best choice is aberrant. Let us go on to the next set. What he said was unintelligible, but words were uttered. The quantification, personification, syllabification was distinct. This is unquestionably the most stupendous, subterranean, superficial, the most interesting and the most important undertaking ever accomplished or even attempted by man. Best answer in the first set, choice C, syllabification. All of them do sound big, but let that fact not daunt us. Quantification is the act of discovering or expressing the quantity of something. Personification is representing an abstract quality or idea as a person or creature. Syllabification means forming or dividing words into syllables. The passage gives us the clues, unintelligible words. So, therefore, we have to look at syllabification. How will personification fit here? Syllabification is the only word that applies to both sets, is a better choice that quantification is not. Okay. Coming to personification, you should know that it is the next word that comes after personification here is unintelligible. Personification cannot be unintelligible. On a different note, poets often use personification. Death, do not be proud, says a poet. What does it mean? Death is being personified as a proud person, arrogant person, but do not be proud. That is what the poet says. So, best choice, coming back to our exercise, is syllabification. In the second set, the best choice is stupendous. Something is stupendous if it is so great in size as to elicit awe, AWE, you are overawed. Eiffel Tower can be stupendous. And sub and terra, subterranean means being or operating under the surface of the earth. We should also note that it could also mean lying beyond what is openly revealed or avowed. And someone is said to be superficial if she is concerned with or comprehending only what is apparent or obvious, or not deep or penetrating emotionally or intellectually. The passage goes on about superlative things. We should look for something that is superlative or close to it. So, stupendous is the only word that matches. and there we have the right choice. Let us move on to the next set. People have fewer cordons, dearth, scruples, fallacies, screeds about killing others remotely with drones than in shooting them while looking into their eyes. The best choice is option C, scruples. Cordon is a cord or ribbon worn as an insignia of honor or rank. Dearth means a lack or insufficiency. Scruple is defined as motivation deriving logically from ethical or moral principles that govern a person's thoughts and actions. So, people have scruples, when killing someone from a distance. Fallacy is a misconception resulting from incorrect reasoning or false belief. A screed is a long monotonous harangue. Fewer cordons or insufficiency or misconceptions for killing people using drones sounds very problematic. Okay, so, we shall look at the scruple or screed and fallacy, and the best choice is scruples. People have fewer scruples about killing others remotely with drones, air attacks, than in shooting them while looking into their eyes. That means, it is easier to kill people from a distance rather than looking at them in the eyes. Look at the next set. The daughter lay protest, prostrate and motionless. She had swooned. Swooned is passed away or almost like fainted. The screams and struggles of the old lady had the effect of changing the probably plaintive, ponderous, specific purposes of the orang-utang into those of wrath. The daughter lay protest and motionless, prosaic and motionless, prostrate and motionless. So, best choice is prostrate here, and had the effect of changing the probably plaintive, ponderous, specific. So, prostrate is the best answer. Daughter cannot lie any other way. So, prostrate, protest means to express opposition, right, through words or action. Something that is prosaic will be opposite of poetry or poetic, not fanciful, imaginative. To prostrate is to lie face downward, lying prostrate. And pacific, plaintive means expressing sorrow. Something is ponderous if it is slow and laborious because of weight, and if it is not related to the ocean, pacific could mean disposed to peace. So, we are not talking about Pacific Ocean, but we are talking about Pacific temperament. So, peaceful, peace loving nature. Let us move on to the next set. Joe looked at his brother's new house that absconded, afforded a grand view of the ocean. His brother's wealth only made Joe hate him more, and his hubris, vitriol, paean spewed forth from a deep seated jealousy that consumed his whole life. The best answer is looked at the brother's new house that not absconded, not accorded, but afforded. Abscond is to run away. The house is affording a grand view. Accord means to grant or give, which is due or earned. So, best choice is afford a view, okay, that causes or is a source of. House is definitely the source of the view. So, it seems that afford is the right answer, and the next is vitriol. Hubris is, we have already done, overbearing pride, presumption. Vitriol is corrosive acid, but it also means abusive or venomous language used to express blame or censure or bitter deep seated ill will. Paean is a formal expression of praise. The jealous man cannot express paeans or praises. Hubris is pride, no question of expressing pride. So, it has to be vitriol, spewing vitriol or acid. So jealous that he wanted to say to attack, to scathingly attack his brother out of jealousy, jealous of his brother's wealth. Let us look at the next exercise. After some vociferation, abeyance, complaisance, quiet was at length fully restored, and as very often happens in similar cases, a profound and remarkable silence, censored, ensued, burnished. Best choice is vociferation. Vociferation means a loud utterance, often in protest or opposition. Abeyance is the temporary cessation or suspension, and complaisance, it means a disposition or tendency to yield to the will of others. The word that we are looking for should not have a similar meaning to quiet, because the passage indicates that quiet was restored after what happened. And if the missing word was abeyance or complaisance, there would not have been any need to restore the quiet. So, our best choice and probably the only choice is vociferation, that is loud utterance. And the second choice in that second set is ensued. To censure is to rebuke. No, we are not talking about censorship now, and we have done commonly confusable or confused words, censure and censor. So, it is to rebuke formally. Ensue means result. To burnish is to polish. So, quiet was already restored, there is no reason to censor, one would think here. And though silence could have been ensued or burnished, the affect the adjective for silence and the use of the article indicates that the silence is new. So, the word we are looking for should be ensue. The silence can be burnished once it is ensued, but ensue definitely is to happen. So, that is the answer. Next set, next exercise. Please look at the slide. The French emperor is indubitably, demonstratively, intrepidly, discordantly, dubiously in a dangerous state. His Parisian popularity wanes and his army are discontented with him. The French emperor is, the best answer is option A, indubitably. It means to a degree that cannot be doubted. So, if someone is demonstrative, it means that she is given or marked by the open expression of emotion. If you are reading, if you are looking at intrepidly, it means that you are reading without fear. If you are looking at all the answers here without fear, then you are looking at it intrepidly. And discordant means in agreement, not in agreement. So, because of the prefix dis, you have to understand discordant means not in agreement or harmony. We have already seen discordant sounds, right. So, best option is the French state or the French emperor is in a undoubtedly, indubitably in a state. What kind of state? So, passage already gives us a statement and then gives two evidences to support the said statement. It helps us strike out discordant and dubious. Talk is about waning popularity, discontentment. It cannot be viewed intrepidly or demonstratively. So, we have to settle for indubitably. Evidence is provided without any doubt. So, let us move on to the next set. If humans invent language, then words are just adversary signs, ksharii, arbitrary, chicanery, cursory signs that represent ideas. C, arbitrary is the best choice. An adversary is someone who offers opposition, your enemy. An act is chary if it is characterized by great caution and wariness. Arbitrary is a word that we see used in various situations in such connections. So, arbitrary signs. Basically, it means based on subject to individual discretion, okay, or preference or sometimes impulse or caprice. It could be arbitrary rule or arbitrary choice. Chicanery means the use of tricks to deceive somebody, usually to extract money from them. Cursory has got nothing to do with cursing. Cursory means not thorough. Since humans invented language, or since humans invented language cannot be cursory, as it is something they use. Language cannot be adversary. Language could be arbitrary. We often use the word, the arbitrary nature of language. And chary cannot be the option, it is not being over cautious. Arbitrary also matches the adverb just, which is there in the sentence. Arbitrary is the best match here. Okay. So, therefore, that is the choice, that is the answer. Let us look at the next set of exercises. In his latest collection, he once again reminds us of the indefatigable, desiccated, ignoble reporting skills and inventive, improvident, creditable use of language that made him a paragon of the new journalism. New journalism, remember, is a kind of a movement. Truman Capote is an example of new journalism, actually living the life of what is being reported. Okay, they are on the field kind of report. It is not just investigative journalism. Therefore, the coinage, the word that was coined was new journalism, the author, the reporters actually leading the lives of the what they were trying to report. So, reminds us of the indefatigable, desiccated, ignoble. The best answer is or choice is first, indefatigable. It can be defined as showing sustained and unenthusiastic, or that cannot be defeated, with unflagging vitality. Somebody is desiccated if the person is lacking vitality or spirit. Ignoble means dishonorable. And we are looking for adjectives for both first and second blank. We have to start with the first blank. So, the best choice is indefatigable. Remember, something that made him a paragon, and paragon is an exemplary, a model kind of a person. So, paragon of virtue, he is a paragon. So, therefore, it has to be a positive word, that is indefatigable and not anything else, not ignoble. It also cannot be something desiccated, because he is not lacking in vitality. And next is use of words, new journalism. So, inventive, marked by independence, something new, creative in thought and action. It is not an improvident action which is not given careful consideration, and creditable means worthy or often limited commendation. We often say something is creditable if we feel it is good, but not great. Remember, we are looking for an adjective that makes you paragon. The writing, is not careless. So, it has to, between inventive and creditable, the best answer is inventive. Let us look at the next set. Vidocq, for example, was a good guesser and a persevering man, but without educated thought. He and erred continually by the very intensity of his investigations. The best choice is erred. To err is human, to forgive divine. This is your best answer. We have already seen errant is an adjective, that means straying from the right course or from accepted standards, errant behavior. It could also mean irregular or unpredictable motion. Arrant, A-R-R-A-N-T, it means without qualification and is an adjective. So, that is not what we want here. An errant fool, errands are something that people do, a small kind of a job, an errand boy, someone who takes a short trip to do something. So, this is not what we want. To err, to E-R-R, is to make a mistake. Eared of course means to make, to fold, dog eared. Sometimes you read and you want to, you do not have a page marker. So, you turn the leaf, fold the leaf, and dog eared books. People who read a lot, you will find their books dog eared. Not a good practice, but common practice. Next slide. The great error lies in supposing that even the truths of what is called pure algebra are abstract or general truths, and this error is so capricious, contentious, unforgivable, egregious, debilitating that I am confounded at the universality with which it has been received. Best answer is option D, egregious. Capricious means changeable, capricious mood. So, therefore, we have the word Capricorn, right, zodiac sign, moody, changeable. Contentious, confrontational, yeah, to cause controversy. Unforgivable is what it is, not excusable. Egregious means conspicuously and outrageously bad or reprehensible. To debilitate, to debilitate is to make something weak. So, how to derive at the correct answer? It has been universally accepted, it could not have been capricious or contentious or debilitated, but it is a great error. We have to choose between unforgivable and egregious. Both words indicate the magnitude of the error. So, the passage does not indicate that it could be forgiven or not be forgiven. Egregious therefore rightly conveys the size of the error without making any implications. Unforgivable is unforgivably clear here. So, thank you very much, and we will meet soon for our next session.